I found myself not being able to focus on my daily tasks.
It would feel like my head was just going to explode.
When I was suffering from migraines, I would go home, and I have a little boy, and I couldn't even fix him dinner.
There were times when I wished, oh, you know, maybe it'd be better to be dead.
Hi, my name is Joe DeBraga, and I work for a company called Reading Vision. Reading Vision specializes in helping people with dyslexia overcome their reading problems. However, today I want to talk to you about how to resolve issues that you may be having with migraines. In the Reading Vision system, we use a two-part system to help people with dyslexia. One of those parts is an eye exercise. And this eye exercise, we have discovered, actually helps people who have migraines. And if you do this eye exercise every day, you will find that you will no longer get migraines. It's a very simple, easy to perform exercise, and I think you will see improvement in your migraines in a very short period of time. How long have you been?
About 2 years.
Has you been migraine free
Yes.
for 2 years?
Yes.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So a big change in quality of life.
Big change. Big change. I don't even know what I would be doing now if I hadn't told Dr. Vanilla about it.
That is awesome. So we're, you know, as you can tell, we're filming, and
Right.
we're wanting other people to see this. So what would you tell them, I guess, if somebody's skeptical like you were? Is there something you would say to them that?
Give it a try. Give it a chance. I'm probably the world's worst patient because I hate taking medication to begin with. You know, so when I go in and the doctor says, "Here, take this medication," I'm like, I don't want to. So if you hate taking medication and you don't feel like there's any other solution, try this out. It will work. It's been incredible. It's got me completely sold, and I would recommend it wholeheartedly to anyone.
Would you say currently you're migraine free?
Yes,
Yeah. Would that go back 4.5 years too?
it would. Well, you know, just been last couple years when I'd say that I don't think about it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't worry about when I'm going to get the next one. Who would have thought that, you know, 2 magic pennies from Dr. Manila would, you know, make such a change in my life? But and I've talked to other people too, and they say the same thing. You know, it's just being faithful to it. It's being, you know, believing in it, and being faithful to it.
Can you do this for me? Can you hold that out and let it go right up to one eye? Very good. See the lens on the camera? Mm-hmm. Can you do this with your hand? Okay, let's put it right out like that. You got it? Look at the lens. Whoop, keep your eye open. Now, close your right eye. Did it move? Okay, now open it. You still got it? Mm-hmm. Okay, close your left eye. Did it move?
Nope.
Okay, that's what I thought. He's right eye dominant. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little trick, and it's going to be something you're going to have to use forever and ever. And if you don't, all the bad stuff comes back. Okay, I still have to use my pennies. Now, after a while, I'll show you another thing you can use, but you'll like this. Okay. Now let me turn you around. Can you sit right up tall? I think it'll be easier on this. Okay. Now, remember we said the eye you used the most, the dominant eye was your right eye? Remember that? So we're going to pretend your nose is right here, and we're going to move the pennies just a little bit to your left. Okay? Now, can you watch me? What we're going to do is we're going to pretend there's a line along the bottom, and then we're going to make a straight line and touch the end of our nose. Okay? And we're not going to go up and over like this, and we're not going to turn our fingernail, otherwise we'll make a arc. So we're going to turn our finger and go right straight up and touch her. Can you do that? What, you're right-handed, use your right hand. Okay, very good. Now put your finger right on the bottom of the line. Okay. Oh, that's good. Really good. Can you do it a couple more times? Go right up. You don't have to draw the line there. You can just imagine there's a line, okay? Go even slower. Oh, very good. Now, I'm going to put your finger there. I'm going to put a little black dot on your finger. And you tell me when your finger falls off, okay? Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to lift your finger up real slow, but look right at that black dot. And when you see 3 pennies, stop. We're going to make 3 pennies. When you get 3 pennies, stop. You got them? You got 3 pennies?
I got 4 pennies.
Okay, go a little bit higher. Let's go back and do it again. I'll move them just a little bit closer. You got them? Okay, you got 3 pennies. You got them? Okay, hang on to them. Okay, now, what I want you to do is take your finger away and keep the 3 pennies. You're going to feel like you're cross-eyed or looking at the end of your nose. You got them? Still got the 3 pennies?
This one's going away.
Okay, count them on the table. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Keep counting them. Boy, you got the hard part really easy. Very good.
I'd like to introduce to you a migrainer that began this penny power method about 2 years ago, and she has been migraine free since that time. Would you tell us how young you were when you had your first migraine and how often they occurred?
They started when I was about 12 to 13, and at that time they would just be occasional. What I found is that as I aged and as I progressed in my career and personal life, it became more stressful, and my migraines often were affiliated with some kind of stress event, and so they became more frequent later on.
Do you have any triggers that
Mostly stress. Occasionally, if it's getting to be that time of the month for me, that would happen as well, as I would start to feel a migraine come on, but it was mostly stress that caused it. And when I was under stress, I would lose sleep too, so it was probably a little bit of both, lack of sleep and stress, but primarily stress.
And how about an aura? Do you have an aura?
I would get auras, yeah. They would be in my eyes, typically in my left eye, and I would get the little zigzag moving things, and sometimes I would get a circle, a halo around things as well. So when the aura came on, I knew that I would get a migraine within at least an hour.
How long? And where were the migraine headaches located?
Typically, they occurred on my right side of my head in my temple area. Occasionally, I would have ones that moved around my head. They would move around in a horizontal fashion around my head, and just kind of, as the time progressed, they would just move here and there. But most of the time, it was in my right temple.
Now, many would get a very painful headache. Could you describe just how painful that headache was?
Having given birth, I would associate it with giving birth. I mean, it was just very painful. It was onset very fast, very rapid. And when I wasn't taking the medication and was just suffering through it, I found myself not being able to focus on my daily tasks, and communication was a struggle. It was so painful. It just interrupted my thought process significantly.
Many are experience trouble with lights. They have photophobia, sounds. They'll have phonophobia, and some will have nausea and vomiting. Did you have any of those?
No nausea and vomiting, but sound and light sensitivity was a standard. Before I tried the Penny Power, I would sit in my office with the lights on, and even the light from the computer screen, or if I had a desk light that I would turn on that was a side instead of that overhead fluorescent, even that would hurt. Sound as well. Many times I'd be driving home and suffering from a migraine, and I couldn't even bear to have the radio on at all, much less cars driving past me, and that whooshing sound that it made just really, really hurt.
Could you give a little bit of information on the 2-penny exercise? How often after did you get a migraine, or did they all go away, or what?
The first time that I tried the Penny Power was with you, actually, and I was suffering from a migraine at that time, and I saw immediately reduction in pain. And I was skeptical, if you remember. I'm like, no way, Dr. Manila. But immediately reduction in pain and just sensitivity in general to light and sound. So I started to become a believer. I continued doing it. I did it a couple times a week for the first about 6 months, and now I do Penny Power about once a week, and I have not had a migraine since. And my stress has not reduced either.
How has this influenced your everyday life or your family life, or what?
It's been fantastic. When I was suffering from migraines, I would go home, and I have a little boy, and I couldn't even fix him dinner because it just hurt, and after having to struggle through it for work during the day, I just had to go to bed. And so I don't have that problem anymore. I happily can go home confident knowing that I can help my little boy with his homework. I can focus on my fiance and cook dinner and just behave like a normal human. I don't have to go home after having a migraine all day and go straight to bed and try and get rid of it. So.
But I used to get pain in my ears and be very tired, and then I would wake up with one, and it would stay for at least a week. It would move from side to side, and it was completely debilitating. I mean, it was painful. There were times when I wished, maybe it'd be better to be dead than to suffer through these things. Be nauseated, very nauseated, and the ringing in it would feel like my head was just going to explode. It was everything about the skull was awful, and it seemed like if I could just get a needle and stick it in the temples of my head, it could relieve some of that pressure, and make me feel better. But laying down didn't help. I could never sleep with a migraine.
And what were some of the things that set them off?
Well, like Dr. Manila had just said, I felt like smoking, wine, maybe red wine. I wasn't sure whether it was salt. I used to have a lot of salt cravings, but stress, of course. I believe stress was a big trigger. I wish I had known what. I would have tried to avoid it more. I don't know, exactly what set them off. Just a variety of things.
How would it interfere with your daily tasks?
It was. I mean, sometimes as a mother or a business person, you got to go on, but it's miserable. It's horrible. And then there are times when there's nothing you can do, but nothing relieves it. There were drugs sometimes that would last for a little while, and then it would come back even stronger after the drugs wore off. So I remember doing the Imitrex and it helping, but giving me some strange feelings, making me feel like maybe I was going to have a heart attack or something. But I really believe that the working with the pennies and the muscles, I don't know, it's done something different for me. I don't, you know, everything I used to have built up into a migraine. Every little headache just built up into a migraine. And it was like at least 1 or 2 weeks out of every month that I suffered these migraines.
How did this help with your social life, your work, so forth, family activities?
Well, I didn't miss as much work as I had. My work productivity increased because first I was there and I didn't have headaches, even if I, before when I stayed at a headache, then my productivity would go down. My productivity is up. I exercise now and I did then too, but it aggravated the head and I don't get those headaches with the exercise anymore.
Now, were you fearful of going someplace where there were flickering lights or a glare involved in whatever activities, such as perhaps going to a gymnasium or going to some place where the fluorescent lights were very prominent?
At first I was apprehensive, but I go to the gym and that now, and I have no problems.
Now, these triggers do not incite a migraine now, is that right?
Correct.
Which would be changes in the weather, the lights, caffeine withdrawals, and intense odors.
Yeah.
So, overall, the migraine stigmata is gone,
Yes.
and your quality of life has improved.
Yes. Greatly.
Let me ask you about the use of the method. Do you still use your pennies or your fingernails?
Yes, I do.
And
if I stop, I start getting headaches.
how many days between stopping and developing a headache, a migraine headache?
Usually about 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, that long, okay. So some are 5 days. So
Yep.
you can say, I'm cured, it's over, and you stop, and then all of a sudden, here is the vengeance of a migraine.
Yes, it comes back.